As we've received news over the last couple of weeks when it comes to a coronavirus vaccine, it's given many a renewed sense of optimism. But what will distribution look like in Colorado? Our Alasyn Zimmerman taking a deep dive at the history of vaccines in our state and what we know right now when it comes to the COVID vaccine.
There have been some promising reports recently when it comes to getting a COVID-19 vaccine. PFIZER says its vaccine is 95% effective, while MODERNA says they have a 94.5% efficacy. But as public health experts work to combat the virus, there are a lot of questions about what happens next. In the state's vaccine plan, it goes through some of those items once a vaccine becomes available in the state.
We are expecting limited supply at first, which is why this plan and prioritization is so important.
The state's plan sent to the CDC last month breaks down like this. With a limitation on the number of doses, first priority will go to healthcare workers treating COVID-19, and then it will go to people at an increased risk of severe complications from the virus. Think people 65 years and older and those with underlying health conditions. And also those who are considered to be in critical populations most at risk for the virus. The state has already made preparations with the recent news of being closer to vaccine. But what about students in Colorado's schools?
School-required immunizations are done through state law.
Stephanie Wasserman, director of Immunize Colorado, says all states require some form of vaccination for students in childcare, K-12, and higher education. In 1978, Colorado put its first law on the books related to vaccines and students. Colorado doesn't require flu vaccines, which is the case for most states in the U.S. Wasserman says whether or not Colorado students will be required to get a coronavirus vaccine is a conversation likely years away, partially because there hasn't been any testing of the vaccine on kids so far.
We don't have anywhere near the information needed to make those kinds of determinations.
Here's a look at what's currently required for students in K-12 education in Colorado. It is important to note the state does allow for exemptions for either medical or non-medical reasons, but as far as a COVID-19 vaccine goes, the real priority is getting one approved and getting it to those who will need it most.
Alasyn Zimmerman reporting tonight, and there are some vaccine trials recruiting children for studies. PFIZER has already moved into another stage with kids as young as 12.